They are a savory snack packed full of nutrients and antioxidants. Peanuts are hailed as a weight loss remedy, and walnuts are said to be the key to better heart health. But within the superfood lies a deep, dark secret, and what we are about to discover could be our most revealing episode yet. Nuts are rich in proteins, vitamins, and minerals, and for their size, these little guys sure know how to pack a punch. They're delectable, they're crunchy, but do they really live up to all this hype? Let's investigate.
Interestingly, almost all nuts have got three attributes which are quite universal. They are very low in saturated fats, they are high in mono and polyunsaturated fats, and they're also quite high in protein, roughly the same amount of protein as meat and fish.
There is no shortage of nut varieties to indulge in, but are all nuts created equal? We chose 4-star nuts in an effort to crack open their benefits and secrets. All hail the almond, walnut, peanut, and Brazil nut. Let's put the walnut under the microscope. Out of all nuts, the walnut is the most beneficial to the heart and circulatory system.
Walnuts have a very high level of polyunsaturated fats, or sometimes we call them omega-3 fats, which are known to reduce your cholesterol without a shadow of doubt.
Since the walnut is known for lowering cholesterol, we at the Food Detectives have decided to give it a workout of a different kind.
I'm meeting with a group of Tai Chi practitioners. 6 of them have agreed to be part of a little experiment. Over the next 2 weeks, each of them will be eating a handful of walnuts. Now, it's said that walnuts helps to lower the cholesterol, so we're going to find out if it makes any difference at all.
Before the volunteers begin the experiment, we will take their cholesterol levels. For the next 2 weeks, they will eat a handful of walnuts every day. After that, we will measure their cholesterol levels again. This will confirm whether eating walnuts has any benefit to cholesterol levels.
Seems to me that these walnuts have a lot of superpowers. Huh? Did you know that walnuts are actually very good for your brain? Huh. Another nut to get all excited about is the Brazil nut. It's one of the richest sources of selenium.
Brazil nuts are a miracle nut in that it has the largest amount of selenium per gram. And selenium is a very important trace element for many metabolic activities. So if you eat half a nut, you get about 20 micrograms of selenium, and our requirements per day is about 50 micrograms. So if you eat one big whole Brazil nut, you probably will meet most of your requirements for selenium per day.
One thing to note about this powerful nut is that it also contains the highest energy content of all nuts.
They have about 700 calories per 100 grams, where most other nuts have about 500 to 600 calories per 100 grams. So in terms of energy content, I think Brazil nut comes out quite trumps.
A high-fat food that's good for your health? It's not an oxymoron, it's almonds. Almonds are rich in monosaturated fats. That's the same type of fat that you find in olive oil. And these nuts are associated with the reduced risk in heart disease.
Almonds' ability to reduce the risk of heart disease may be partly due to the antioxidant action of the vitamin E found in these nuts. Research has shown that eating almonds with a high glycemic index food significantly lowers the GI of the meal and lessens the rise in blood sugar after eating. The more you eat, the lower the glycemic index of the meal. This comes as good news for those with diabetes. After the break, we divulge the dark side of the peanut. Now that we've investigated some of the most powerful nuts, the walnut, the Brazil nut, the almond, it's time to look into one of the most ubiquitous of them all, the peanut. The peanut is one of the most challenging nuts of all. It suffers from a slight identity crisis, seeing as it's not really a nut, but a legume. However, its use in our diets and cuisine more closely resembles that of nuts. Peanuts have all the wonderful benefits that nuts have to offer, but what I like about them most is their weight loss ability.
Peanuts are a very popular and cheap way to lose weight because many others have shown that eating a handful of peanuts on a weight loss diet profoundly affects your rate of weight loss, but also most importantly, weight loss from your tummy area.
That's because the protein, fiber, and monosaturated fat found in peanuts help to give us that feeling of being full. Besides helping in weight loss, peanuts, specifically roasted peanuts, are high in antioxidants. So much so that they can rival blackberries and strawberries, and are far richer in antioxidants than apples, carrots, and beetroots. Peanuts contain a high concentration of polyphenols. When gently roasted, it can increase peanuts' p-coumaric acid levels, boosting their overall antioxidant content by as much as 22%. But there is a dark side to peanuts. Peanut allergies are one of the deadliest and most common in the world. But what exactly makes them so dangerous to certain people?
Most nut allergies are caused by the protein that the nuts contain. It turns out that one part of the protein causes an immunological response in the body, and the body is unable to actually detect these proteins in a very sensible way. So allergic reaction is a reaction of the immune response of the body to a foreign matter.
Nut allergies have been on the rise over the past decade, not just in Asia, but worldwide. What are some of the things we can do to keep ourselves or our friends and family safe?
We've all heard of nut allergies before, but a lot of people tend to underestimate that the reactions can be serious and sometimes fatal. Now, I've also heard that as an adult, you can develop allergic reactions. And I've never had any reactions to nuts before, but I think it's best to be safe. So I'm going to see Dr. Chiang, who's going to do a little test, and I'm hoping I don't have to say goodbye to peanut butter anytime soon. Hello, Dr. Chiang.
Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Fine, thank you.
I'm interested to know what the test is like, and maybe I have been allergic and I didn't know about it.
Peanut is obviously the most common allergen that we see. Almonds, Brazil nut, cashew nut, hazelnut, pecan walnuts are the most common other tree nuts that we see.
If I'm allergic to peanuts, for instance,
Yes.
does that necessarily mean that I'm allergic to the other tree nuts, like walnuts and all that?
A third of these patients with peanut allergy may have an allergy test that may be positive to other tree nuts. It's either there or it develops along the way, and we can't actually identify who it is unless we test.
So let's get testing. What are you going to do with me?
We will be using specific allergens for the nuts that we're looking at. So if it's almond, we're going to apply through a little prick and we'll read the test 15 to 20 minutes later. The kids usually tolerate this procedure very well. They hardly cry from it. It takes us maybe about 30 seconds to apply it.
What's the next step? What do they do?
So typically for peanuts and other nuts allergy, only about 20% of children with peanuts or other nuts allergy actually outgrow the nuts allergy. In this group of children, if they've had a significant reaction before, at any age, and their skin test or blood tests were positive at any age, we will have to repeat the test at an interval of time and then decide when to do a challenge for them.
What do you mean by this challenge?
An oral challenge for peanut butter, which is one of the most common food allergen challenges we do, we will bring a child into a hospital setting where there's full resuscitation capabilities, and there will be people to help in case of a severe anaphylaxis or severe reaction. Anything from rashes, breathing problem, vomiting, drop in blood pressure, or death can happen during a food challenge.
Let's say there was a bowl of nuts and someone is allergic to one, but not the Brazil nut, and they take the Brazil nut out. Is that okay, or sometimes that can be a reaction?
Yes, that is actually a very dangerous thing to do because of cross-contamination. The amount of protein that is needed to trigger a reaction is very different from different individuals. So it is not okay for a hazelnut allergic patient to pick up from a mixed bowl of nut and almond.
Let's say someone does have an allergic reaction, be it severe or not. What are some of the things that you do to make sure they're okay?
It depends on the severity of the reaction. If it's just a rash, sometimes oral antihistamines can be sufficient. If the child or the adult have a significant reaction involving a closure of the airway, vomiting, discomfort, and blood pressure dropping. In that case, the patients are actually equipped with a medication called adrenaline. This is the adrenaline pen that we advise our peanut and other nuts allergic patients who have significant reactions to carry. The caregiver or the parent would have to administer this pen. If the patient is conscious, they may administer this pen on their own. It's usually applied to the outer thigh area in a fashion that would cause the needle to auto-inject and the medicine will come out. After the medication has been applied, the patient needs to be sent to hospital facilities.
So can we have a look at my results?
Yes, you can. Okay, so you have a negative test to all the tree nuts as well as the peanuts. So the likelihood of you having peanut and other nuts allergy is very low.
I can eat as many nuts as I like. Woohoo! All this talk about nut allergies has made me so thankful that I can enjoy this. Peanut butter, the simple joy of life.
I do love my peanut butter, but I wonder, am I losing all its nutrients when it's churned into butter form?
If you don't like eating whole nuts and prefer to eat it as a paste or as a butter, there's absolutely no harm because none of the nutrients are lost when you make it into a paste. What does happen is that it increases the energy content of the nut because it's more available to the body.
A great way to introduce nuts into your diet is by eating them as butter. And for a few dollars and less than 30 seconds, you can make your own fresh nut butter at home. Watch and learn. Take your chosen nuts and blitz for a few seconds. Add a drizzle of oil to make a firm, smooth paste. Today I'm using macadamia oil, although any cold-pressed oil is just fine. Add salt to taste and voila! You have a delicious, healthy, nutrient-packed spread. Coming up, we find out what it's like to live with a potentially fatal peanut allergy.
I was like struggling to breathe.
Earlier, we cracked open the super benefits of our star nuts, the almond, peanut, Brazil nut, and we set a Tai Chi group on a nutty mission with the walnut. Go nuts! Now our nuts take a serious tone.
I'm going to meet with Kim and her family. Now, Kim is 15 years old, but she's been suffering from a peanut allergy since she was 1. So I'm going to have a little chat with her to get a first-hand account of what it's like to live with a peanut allergy. What is it like to live with a nut allergy? Is it very frustrating?
Sometimes it is because there are people in my school, they have forks and spoons. I tell them like, no, don't put it into my food because if you do that, I can't eat anymore. But they don't get it, so they'll just put their fork into my food and then I'm like, now I can't eat. So I have to go and get something else.
Gay, how did you first find out that Kim was allergic to peanuts at the age of 1?
It was her first Chinese New Year in Singapore. So that night, her dad gave her a melt-in-your-mouth peanut candy. And after she took that, we tucked her to bed. A couple of hours later, we noticed that she was making funny sounds in her cot. And when we went to check on her, that's when we found her all swollen up.
When you found out that Kim was allergic to nuts, it must have been a complete paradigm shift, a lifestyle change. So how was that like for you as a mother and for your family?
We basically had to remove all peanut ingredients from our household cooking. So peanut butter, which was one of our favorite stuff, had to go immediately. And we haven't had peanut butter for a long time. But now that Kim is a bit older, we've started to reintroduce peanut butter to the household menu because we have been told by the allergist that the younger siblings have to take a little bit of nuts and peanut, otherwise they too will become sensitized to the nut.
Having a child with a nut allergy, what are some of the most frustrating and common misconceptions that people have?
I think the most frustrating thing would be that they don't understand the seriousness of the allergy. For example, many people don't understand that it's fatal.
It must be really difficult as well when you're leaving the house or when you're going out or maybe when you're traveling, right?
Yeah, it is very difficult, but having the EpiPen makes us feel a little bit safer.
What was the first time like for you when you realized you were feeling uncomfortable?
It's scary. There are different levels of reaction that I can get. So the mildest reaction would just be a bit of itchiness in the throat, but the worst reaction would be being swollen all over, which happened when I was 10, when I took like a food challenge test where I had to take peanut butter in the hospital. That at first didn't cause any reaction, but when I was on my way back home, I had a full-blown reaction to the peanut. My hands became red, they became really puffy, and I couldn't stop sneezing. Then I couldn't breathe. I rushed back to the hospital. They gave me the injections immediately, but I was like struggling to breathe. So it felt really, really uncomfortable and very scary.
What are some of the precautions that you have to take when you leave your house or you're hanging out with friends?
Wherever I go, I always have the EpiPen and the medicine with me in my bag. Even if I'm not supposed to be going out to eat or like going to be in contact with food, I still bring it out just in case.
Kim, thanks very much for taking the time to talk to me. And I'm sorry to bring up all the memories of how hard it was, but thank you. I really appreciate that. And Gay, for allowing me into your home and to tell me what it's like as a mother. Thank you very much.
Not at all.
And having talked to them, it's really interesting to see how serious a nut allergy can be. It's a lot more common than you think, and it actually can be quite scary.
Nuts have a risk of containing aflatoxin, a naturally occurring toxin that can damage the liver. Also, salmonella, a common cause of food poisoning that may be found in raw nuts. The AVA tests for aflatoxins B and G, the most carcinogenic substances known to the human body. The nuts are ground in a blender. Salt and an extraction solvent are then added. It is homogenized under high speed and filtered. The extract is then mixed with water. Afterwards, it's passed through the column and excess water is removed. Methanol and water are added and the extract is finally analyzed using high liquid chromatography. Any aflatoxin B and G will be detected by the system. It's time to go and check in on our Tai Chi group to see how they've fared after 14 days of walnuts.
I have in my hands 6 test results. 2 weeks of eating a handful of walnuts. 6 Tai Chi practitioners are going to hear the nutty truth. Mr. Pua, your cholesterol level went down.
Oh, okay, thank you very much.
Congratulations. Linda, I am sorry to say your cholesterol went up. Mr. Chan, congratulations, your cholesterol went down. I don't know what you've been doing, but I have some news for you.
Yeah?
Your cholesterol went down.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, I'm so proud. Have a look at your numbers. Cholesterol went up. Congratulations, your cholesterol went down.
Okay, thank you.
I'm leaning towards the belief that walnuts can lower your cholesterol. Out of 6 people, 4 of them successfully lowered their cholesterol with a handful of walnuts every day. Now, I'm up for the challenge, but remember, it's a handful. No more, no less. Cashews are rich in essential minerals and protein. They contain a lot of the good stuff like magnesium and copper and potassium, zinc, iron, the list is endless. And it's even said that a large handful of cashews can contain up to 2,000 milligrams of the important amino acid tryptophan, which works very much like Prozac and helps to keep depression at bay. So we know that cashews are good for you, but they do contain fat. So these cashews contain polyunsaturated fat, monounsaturated fat, and some saturated fat. Some of it's good for you, some of it not so good. But today we want to find out exactly how much fat are in these cashews. Have a look here. We have some baked cashew nuts, and we also have some roasted cashews and some honey roasted cashews. My friends here from Singapore Polytechnic are going to help me out. Yun Ting here is going to grind the cashews for us, and Singy, you're actually going to measure the fat content, right? Okay, ladies, get to work. I'll be back. First, the 3 nut samples are ground. Next, the samples are weighed in paper thimbles and placed in metallic holders. Then, an organic solvent, also known as petroleum ether, will be added into an instrument called the fat analyzer.
Are the results?
Ah, perfect. Thank you very much. I can get used to this. She does all the work, I do all the talking. Ah, thank you. The moment of truth. 3 different types of cashew nuts. And in terms of fat content, for every 100 grams of cashews, here are the results. At the top of the ladder, roasted cashews with 47 grams of fat. Next is honey roasted cashews with 45 grams of fat. That sort of surprised me a little bit. I thought it would be more. And all the way at the bottom is baked cashews with 44 grams. The thing is, they're relatively close to each other. So at the end of the day, it just depends which one you prefer. So you know what? If it's going to keep me happy, why not?
Try to eat nuts that are either roasted or perhaps lightly and slightly salted, but not to eat it overtly that are being laced with sugar or laced with molasses, because I think you will not get the major effect of the nuts.
Nuts are not just your regular snack. They're good in lowering cholesterol, preventing heart diseases, and can even help you to lose weight. But nuts are ubiquitous, so they can be very dangerous for people with nut allergies. But the good thing is, they can also be enjoyed in many different ways. Now that's the nut case closed.